faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. First, I gotta say, congrats to the Seattle Seahawks. They were the better team today. I think they were the better coach team today. And at the end of the day, they made more plays and they deserved to win. But unfortunately, today, I gotta say, when it rains, it pours. Very unfortunate for the 49ers today. I did not see us playing this type of game against the Seattle Seahawks. This was not the team that we have seen over the past month. Um, I can deal with a team playing better than the 49ers. I can deal with that. But what I can't deal with is the 49ers beating themselves. Penalties, turnovers, something like things like that. Not playing button up football, it's just hard to deal with. And flat out, the 49ers didn't deserve, even if we were able to win the game, we didn't deserve to win this game. Not with the amount of penalties that we had, not with the amount of turnovers that we had. The 49ers point blank didn't deserve to win the game. And the Seahawks were the better team today. No, there's no doubt about that. I did not see this Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, the last three games, was terrible. And it's clear that Russell Wilson played his best game and he left it for the 49ers, a division rival. Very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. I did not anticipate this. I thought, I can deal with Russell Wilson and the Seahawks offense, scoring points. I can deal with that because it's Russell Wilson, but I can't accept the 49ers offense. Like, clearly, besides Jimmy's turnovers, the offense, it was pretty good, at least in the first half, but you're not going to win any game if you can't score points. And the 49ers did not score any points in the second half. That's kind of hard to believe. I don't remember the last time we didn't score points in the second half, or there was a half where we didn't score any points at all. But I did not recognize this team. I mean, who was that? I don't know what team that was out there today. But like I said before, kudos to the Seahawks. They were the better team today. They made plays when they had to. They were the better coach team today. They made more plays than we did. But I was definitely surprised by this outcome. Shout out to everyone watching. Jay and intheBay Facebook, Jay and intheBay YouTube, Jay and intheBay Twitter. Let's say what's up to the people in them comments. We got Towley. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. Hopefully your Sunday is going better than mine. Oh, man. And what a crazy start to the game. The Seahawks get the ball. The 49ers defense. And let me say this, the 49ers defense played. You can't play better. I know they had penalties on the defensive side of the ball, and those are unacceptable. There were several like late hits and things like that. Those penalties are unacceptable. You can't make those type of penalties if you want to go to the playoffs. And but the 49ers get a stop on the first drive, on the Seahawks' first drive. They get a stop. And then all of a sudden, the Seahawks pull off a fake punt. And I did not expect that. I did not expect to see that. And clearly the 49ers didn't either. That's for sure. But kudos to the Seahawks. That was a hell of a play call in that situation. No one was expecting it. And the Seahawks, they have nothing to lose. They can go ahead and do a fake punt, and that changed the game for me. The crowd was into it. That was just a hell of a play to call, and they executed well. And even though the 49ers offense was still able to score points, we scored all our 23 points in the first half, and I thought we would be able to. I thought our offense would be able to flourish against the Seahawks defense, but I don't know about you guys, but that did not look like a below average run defense to me. Um, that Seahawks run defense played pretty well today. They did not allow us to control the tempo, win the time of possession, or have long extended drives. And Jimmy is what he is, man. He threw those 2 interceptions. I don't know what Jimmy is seeing, but that's the Jimmy. That's the Jimmy we know. This is who Jimmy is, man. We got DR in the building. DR is a Cardinals fan. The season is still long. We still have what we have 5 more games left. So hey, we can still make the playoffs, but if we're gonna play like this, like we did today, it doesn't. Yeah, we're not gonna make the playoffs if we play our games like this, and we have a tough matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals next week. NYCE says plenty of season left to go. I would definitely agree with that. Niner Gang podcast is in the house. Yeah, we know it, Niner Gang. Jimmy playing horrible with his 2 INTs. Yeah, I mean, this is who he is. This is what separates the good players from the great players is consistency. And Jimmy is just not consistent enough, whether it's his availability to be on the field and be a healthy player contributing to a team, or whether it's his play. We've seen Jimmy be great, or I should say good, and then we've seen Jimmy just be terrible. And those 2 interceptions definitely hurt us. And but let's be real. This 49ers offense in the second half really couldn't do anything. The Seahawks defense made great, they made great adjustments at halftime, because I don't know what happened, but Kittle had an amazing first half, right? He didn't do much in the second half until about the fourth quarter, with like 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. I don't know why the 49ers offense went away from George Kittle, or if the Seahawks were just doubling him. I'm not even sure. But the Seahawks made, great adjustments, in the second half of the game. And if we look at the play-by-play of the second half, this is what the 49ers offense did in the second half. So this is what the 49ers offense did in the second half. So Travis Benjamin fumbled the kickoff. And fortunately, that did not come back to haunt us, but Travis Benjamin did fumble the kickoff. We know Russell Wilson threw that interception. Unfortunately, well, I guess you could say it did come back to bite us, because we had terrible field position to start off after K'Wan Williams got that interception from Russell Wilson at the goal line. Compton, the right tackle, just got pushed around. He just got pushed over by Carlos Dunlap, and he allowed a safety. So that tied the game at 23 all. Our next possessions, Jimmy G interception, punt, and turnover on down. So the offense couldn't do anything in the second half. I credit a little bit of that to Seahawks defense, that obviously they made some adjustments, but also we couldn't run the ball. We could not run the ball at all in this game. I mean, what can you say? Elijah Mitchell was healthy all week. This offensive line is pretty much healthy without Mike McGlinchey, but he's been out for a few weeks. But the Seattle Seahawks run D came to play. And for those that were watching in the pregame, I said, hey, the Seahawks have our number. They're 15-4 against us. Shanahan is 2-7 against us since he's been the head coach. We knew what the records were when the game started. Seahawks had lost their last three straight games. The Niners had won their last three, but unfortunately, none of that matters once the players get to the field. None of that matters, the records. Russell Wilson, he continues to have the 49ers number. He's beat us twice this year. But I think, honestly, I credit Seattle, but we gave the game away. Seattle was trying to give us the game in the first half. But I think I credit Seattle, but we beat ourselves with the penalties and the turnovers. We're not good enough to lose the turnover battle and still win the game. Even though we had a shot to do that, at the end of the game, but we're not good enough to overcome those types of turnovers. Damian Lee says, yes, Kyle can go now. He can't keep leads starting with his Super Bowl loss to the Patriots when he was with Atlanta. Well, the lead was only 23-20 at the end of the first half. So it wasn't like we were up by 4 touchdowns or whatever. But hey, I respect your opinion, Damien. I respect your opinion. Redder for the Steelers fans says, got the win against the Ravens today. Feels good. Sorry about your Niners. Hey, man, that was a hell of a win the Steelers had against them good old Baltimore Ravens. NYCE says Jimmy gave up 7 points off two interceptions. You don't lose a game because of those turnovers. We lost of all the team errors. I respect your opinion, and you're looking at the glass half empty. I'm gonna look at it half full. Those turnovers, were huge because if we didn't have those turnovers, we don't know. We could have gone down the field. We could have been able to gain momentum on the offensive side of the ball, whether it be running the ball, passing the ball. We could have had long, extended drives, but we couldn't do that because of Jimmy's costly turnovers. And no, was the game over after he did those? After he threw those interceptions? No, but the defense can only play so well. I think defense played pretty good for I would say the defense really only gave up 14 points in the first half because the other touchdown was a trick play, punt touchdown. The defense really only gave up 14 points, and the Niners, we should have been up 23-14, but that punt return definitely changed the game. I was not expecting that. And the crowd, that definitely gave energy to the crowd. It pumped up the entire Seahawks team. I mean, you guys saw it. And speaking of the crowd, I saw a lot of red and gold Niner fans out there. That was good to see. Also, what changed the game was Emmanuel Mosley injury. Emmanuel Mosley got hurt. I think that was on the second Seahawks offensive drive, I believe. Emmanuel Mosley got hurt. That definitely, hurt the defense because now we have to go to Demo Lenore. And let's be real, he just hasn't played the snaps this year. I mean, he hasn't played the snaps, so we expect him to go in there and, play like Emmanuel Mosley. That's not going to happen. And I thought Russell Wilson, he didn't really throw the ball deep. I know he hit DK Metcalf on one play. I think Josh Norman was on him, or it might have been Lenore. I'm not sure, but Russell Wilson didn't really beat us deep that much. I would say he missed on more of those throws than he made as far as throwing deep. Those turnovers definitely hurt us. It didn't kill the game, but it definitely hurt us. The turnovers, Robbie Bronze missed the extra point. Travis Benjamin fumble, the defensive, late hits against Russell Wilson, those extended drives, those hurt us. So it definitely, in the words of a great athlete, one of the greatest 49ers, in my opinion, we lost as a team. And if you blame Jimmy G, that's not fair. We lost as a team, man. That's for sure. We definitely lost as a team. Because even though the defense did play good, they still gave up a lot. They still had those penalties that cost us. And, it's we had a lot of injuries. Obviously, you got to look at Fred Warner being out, Dre Greenlaw being out. That definitely hurt as well. And I'm not taking anything away from the Seahawks. They were the better team today, but it was a ugly back and forth game as far as the turnovers, the penalties. At times it was tough to watch, especially in that second half when the 49ers couldn't do anything on offense. Damian Lee says it's Kyle. Jimmy does what Kyle tells him. Kyle is an offensive coordinator, not coach. Hey, I respect your opinion. Kyle is not the one out there who is throwing interceptions. Kyle is not the player who's getting blown up by Carlos Dunlap, allowing a safety. Kyle is not the player who's getting penalties against Russell Wilson, hitting him in his head when clearly he doesn't have the ball anymore. Kyle is not the player out there missing extra points. Do I need to go on? I mean, let's give the players some responsibility. Let's hold them accountable. Kyle is there calling plays. He's there for leadership. If you want to, criticize his play calling, hey, I respect that. But the players, they lost this game. I don't think this was Kyle. The players lost this game. The players did not execute. We need to blame the players. Same way we praise the players, we need to blame the players as well. George Kittle balled out, no doubt. Hell of a game by George Kittle. If you want to blame Kyle saying, hey, we don't utilize George Kittle enough, I totally respect that because I was texting a buddy of mine earlier today. Where is this George Kittle? Why don't we see George Kittle being utilized more? Why doesn't Jimmy G throw the ball to George Kittle more? I definitely respect that. I understand that. We should use George Kittle more. He should be one of the most utilized tight ends in the NFL, but we want to use him as a blocker. But we see what he does when he has the ball in his hands. He is a playmaker with the ball in his hands. But hey, I respect your opinion, D. But I don't think Kyle's going anywhere. I want to see him with Trey Lance at least next year. But I'm holding the players accountable. Kyle deserves blame as well, but I don't think he deserves more blame than the players. David says our special teams needs to step up. Sea Chickens stacked the box and made Jimmy G try to beat them. Yeah, the special team definitely needs work. I thought Travis Benjamin, he had a solid punt return. That was good to see, but unfortunately he did fumble, the kick return. And Jimmy G, of course, he'll make some throws. He had a nice throw, to Juice and obviously some nice throws to Kittle and Ayuk. But, Jimmy had too many no throws, Jimmy had way too many no throws. And we just weren't good enough today. Maro Tanaka, he says, well, that sucked. Yeah, it did. Especially in that second half when the 49ers could not muster up any points. And, hey, I say kudos to the Seahawks defense. They clearly made some adjustments. How do you go from scoring 23 points in the first half and then the defense holds you to 0 in the second? It's just it's hard to accept. Thanks for coming in, Payo. He says, hey, Jay, sorry for the heartbreaker. Yeah, and it sucks to lose to a division team. So this is the second team that has swept us in the division. Obviously, the Cardinals have won. They beat us twice. Now the Seahawks have beat us twice. And then, we beat the Rams once. But, Man, it was a tough game to watch because, like I said before, I can accept if a team is just better than you, if a team is making plays, I can accept that. But when we're not good enough to beat ourselves with penalties and turnovers. And speaking of penalties, how many penalties did we have in today's game? Let's see. And man, let's pull this up. So looking at the stats, the 49ers are 3 of 10 on third downs. That's not going to get it done. It's just not good enough. 3 of 10 on third downs, not good enough. You're not going to be able to sustain drives. You're not going to be able to win the time of possession. It's just not good enough. Um, we only average about 2.8 yards per rush. That's not going to get it done either. If I would have never believed you, if you told me that the Seahawks would have more rushing yards than the 49ers, I mean, man, I wouldn't believe you. I would not believe you if you would have told me, oh, the Seahawks are going to have more rushing yards than the 49ers. I would have never believed you. I bet anything on that. The Seahawks just picked up Adrian Peterson. They had Adrian Peterson running against us. I would have never would have believed you. The Seahawks also were pretty good in the red zone. I think they had 3 opportunities and they scored, or not, they had actually they had 5 opportunities and they scored on 3 out of 5 of those opportunities. But here's the things it's hard to accept: 3 turnovers, penalties, 10 for 86 yards. Um, you just can't win games like that. You just can't win games like that. 10 penalties, 86 yards, 3 turnovers. I mean, that's the game. That's the game, man. Not gonna win. You're not gonna win games like that. And who was this 49ers team out there today? I don't get it. Did they? I thought they matched the Seahawks intensity in the first half, but in the second half, you know, the Seahawks made adjustments and we could not bounce back. NYCE says, first down and goal, you got to run on all 4 downs. I don't know what Kyle is thinking, shaking my head. Are you referring to the last drive of the game? Yeah, I mean, we weren't really successful in running the ball. I mean, we were averaging under 3 yards a carry. Obviously people are going to talk about that pass interference or that non-pass interference call. Obviously that was pass interference. The defender held, I think that was Trent Sherfield. Obviously that was past 5 yards. His hands were all over him. That sucks. I wish we could have got that call, but the game shouldn't have come down to that. But yeah, that's just unfortunate. That's an unfortunate part of the game. Some calls don't get called. But Blue True, I was hoping for a thriller win like the Lions today. God bless Trenton Cannon. Hopefully he recovers. Yeah, that was on the opening kickoff. Trenton Cannon got hurt. They said that he had a concussion and he's at a local Seattle hospital. So yeah, hopefully he has a full recovery and hopefully he's doing much better. DR, man, hey DR. Let's see what the Cardinals do. Let's see if they get to the playoffs, and let's see what they do in the playoffs. I mean, you guys haven't made the playoffs in the Cliff Kingsbury era, so let's see what you guys do in the playoffs. The Cardinal Rule. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Romello Bell says, "Don't do it, Jay. Jimmy Kruger made sure we had a nightmare." Don't do it, Jay. Jimmy Kruger. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Romello. Elaborate on that. NYCE says, I get your point on the INT killing the drive, but we can say the same thing when the receivers drop passes and the O-line getting penalties. Jimmy definitely hurt, but pointing all fingers at Jimmy, not right. Um, and like I said before, man, NYC, I said, man, hey, we lost this game as a team. And when you want to blame it on Jimmy, that's not fair, man. That's unfair. We lost this game as a team. But Jimmy is the constant. Jimmy is the one who, who takes the snap on every play. He touches the ball on every play. He's going to be held to a higher standard than the other guys. But yeah, I think that as I illustrated, the penalties on both sides of the ball, 10 penalties, they kill drives, they kill downs, they make it harder to have sustained drives. And then on the defensive side, when you get penalties on Russell Wilson, now they have a first down. Now their drive is extended. So Jimmy is a huge part, but the Travis just turnovers in general. They just hurt a team. Turnovers in general, man. NYCE says, totally agree with you, Jay. We simply didn't execute, and Seattle did when they needed to. Yeah, I mean that's ultimately what it comes down to is just a lack of execution, and it's weird because I just didn't see this type of performance coming from the 49ers. I just did not see this type of performance. This is not the team that we've seen over the last month, and I just did not see this type of performance, man. The penalties, the turnovers, we just beat ourselves. And we just did not execute in the second half. And it was very disappointing, especially very disappointing to lose to a division opponent. And yeah, I don't know what it is, man. The Seattle Seahawks, they just play us. They play us hard, man. This year they have our number. And Russell Wilson, he played, he played great. I did not expect to see this Russell Wilson, in this game. I did not expect to see this Russell Wilson type of performance. Because if you look at the last 3 games prior to this one, I mean, Russell Wilson. I mean, look what Russell Wilson did the last 3 games prior to playing us. 0-3, only completing 55% of his passes, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So I guess Russell Wilson's fingers healed. I mean, I guess, right? Russell Wilson's finger must be healed. Russell Wilson today. Let's look at Russell Wilson's stats. Russell Wilson obviously played the best game that he's played since he's been back. No doubt about that. Russell Wilson, 30 of 37, 231 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. And he didn't really throw the ball deep that much. He had a few deep throws. He kept everything really underneath. He took what the defense gave him. He got rid of the ball quickly to avoid that pass rush, but he did get sacked 4 times. He did get hit multiple times. He was hurried a lot. But I guess a bulk of the Seahawks running yards, I guess, was from the fake punt. So that was an 80-yard or 73-yard run by Homer. So I guess if you take that away, basically the Seahawks had 70 yards rushing on 24 carries. So basically, if you take that Homer play away, the Seahawks had 70 yards rushing on about 24 carries. So they really couldn't run the ball either. But we just couldn't do anything on offense. And obviously, and Elijah Mitchell, we look at Elijah Mitchell, 22 carries, 66 yards, 1 touchdown. He just didn't have those big runs that we're accustomed to. The Seattle Seahawks receivers were, I would say, for the most part, they were kept in check. Their longest pass was 33 yards to Metcalf. Penny had a long a catch. But I think the defense did its job. It's just they hurt themselves with the penalties. And of course, George Kittle, we got to utilize him more. 9 catches, 181 yards, 2 touchdowns. We just didn't get enough production. JDW, thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. JDW says the Seahawks aren't better than the Niners, just an off day. Hey, man, they beat us twice. I agree. I mean, it was an off day for the 49ers, but the Seahawks has, beat us twice. JDW says, not a fan of Jimmy G? What? Hey, that's no surprise, man. Yeah, exactly, NYCE. The rushing yards are inflated because of the 76-yard fake punt. Yes, they are inflated. And I was thinking in the first half, the Seahawks were just trying to give us the game. Everett fumbled. I believe Russ threw an INT. Yes. So, the Seahawks had a lot of turnovers, but man, that fake punt, it changed the game. It was literally the 4th play of the game. No one saw that coming on the 49ers sideline. No one saw that coming. And obviously the Emmanuel Mosley injury hurt the secondary for sure. But it just comes down to execution. In the second half, basically, if we would have had a touchdown and a field goal, we would have won the game in the second half. That's all we need to do. 10 points in the second half, the 49ers can win this game, but we couldn't do that. DR says, we got a hater in the house. Let's see. JDW says the Niners have a better roster, a better coach. The Seahawks obviously did something to make them have a bad day, but the Niners are a very good team. I know it's just one game, but it's kind of hard to say the Niners are a good team. Like, good teams don't beat themselves like this, right? And I think we've seen more of these types of games that question, hey, is this actually a good team? I think it's a solid roster, pretty good roster, but sometimes we just don't execute, just like a lot of NFL teams. But when you're 6-6, you're basically average, right? We're an average team. We don't know which team is going to show up. This team has been on a 4-game losing streak. We were on a 3-game winning streak. So it's been a lot of ups and downs with this team. And I did not expect to see this type of performance from the 49ers. It's hard to stomach. David said we need to take this loss as an insult, clean up the mistakes, and play better next week. Absolutely, because Cincinnati Bengals, they played the LA Chargers today, and the LA Chargers beat the brakes off them good old Cincinnati Bengals. So Cincinnati is going to be ready. They're going to be hungry. They're going to be at home, and they're going to try to right the ship because the Cincinnati Bengals are also in the playoff hunt. So 49ers, every one of these games left is a one-game playoff game, I feel. And it's almost a must-win game next week against next week against Cincinnati. But which 49er team is going to show up? Cincinnati's no joke. They got good weapons on offense. They got a pretty good defense, But we're definitely going to have to play more button-up football, that's for sure. David says, excuses. The 49ers are frauds. Weren't they favored to win the division? No, I don't think so. It was probably the LA Rams who were favored to win the division. But at the end of, but at the beginning of the season, I did not anticipate us being 6-6. That's for sure. NYCE says Trent got a concussion, wishing speedy recovery for him. Absolutely. Hopefully he'll have a speedy recovery. That's for sure. Let's see. Job says, "Hey, what's up? Sorry for your loss today. Sorry I haven't been in your live. Been busy. It's all good, man. I respect you, man. We all got lives. We all got things we got to do. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for saying what's up to me, man. I appreciate that." Let's see. Job says his Colts beat the bricks off them good old Texans today, man. Congrats to your Colts, man. They did what they had to do against them good old Houston Texans, man. DJ Jones had a hell of a game. I think he made some big plays. Made a few tackles in the backfield. He forced a fumble. DJ Jones, he had himself a hell of a game. It's unfortunate it came, in a loss. Obviously, and what about this Seahawks run defense? They were averaging about 125 yards per game. I don't know who the Seahawks run defense was, but they played the best game of their season against us. And these division games, you just really never know. Players get up for these games. No one wants to lose to a division opponent. And, the Seahawks, they were ready to play. It didn't matter that they had lost 3 straight. They were ready to play. And, that's what they did. The Seahawks only allowed 71 rushing yards on 25 attempts. Our longest run of the day was only 9 yards. Longest run of the day was only 9 yards. Bobby Wags still got it. Bobby Wags coming into this game, he led the NFL in tackles. And they did a hell of a job stopping the run. Hopefully Emmanuel Mosley, I know he got hurt in the first quarter. Hopefully his ankle injury isn't too severe. Hopefully he'll be able to play against Cincinnati. We don't know the extent of that injury, but we're definitely going to need him in the secondary. Cincinnati has some young weapons at the wide receiver position, and this secondary will be tested again next week. That's for sure. NYCE says, I was expecting a better game out of Ayuk. He is still having trouble getting open and getting in and out of his routes. Honestly, I can't really speak on that as far as trouble getting open and getting in and out of routes. But what I can tell you is he was only targeted. Well, he was targeted 6 times. He had 3 catches, 55 yards. I mean, he had a decent game. I'm not sure if I would have to really watch the game again to see if the rest of those 3 targets were considered drops or bad throws by Jimmy. I'm not sure. KD, thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. I'm glad you can grace us with your presence. KD says the Seahawks didn't beat us. The 49ers beat themselves. Man, I mean, the Seahawks were the better team today. I think they were a better coach, especially in that second half. And, the Seahawks won, but the 49ers, we definitely, I would say the penalties definitely were worse than the turnovers. Because I feel like with the turnovers, with the interceptions and the fumbles, sometimes you have to give it up to the defensive player. Sometimes the defensive player makes a great play. And we've seen that. Now, Jimmy's interceptions, I don't know what he saw. especially the first one with Bobby Wags. But it seems like Jimmy always makes that interception, right? It's always to the middle linebacker. And he had the one against Minnesota was obviously to the safety, and we had an interception today that was versus the safety as well. So, but penalties though, penalties you can absolutely control. Penalties is all on you, especially those penalties against Russell Wilson when he's, those roughing the passer penalties. Those are totally in your control. Like the rules. Those really hurt us because they extended the Seahawks drive. And those really hurt us. But I appreciate your feedback, KD. Job says I'm going to need y'all to beat the Bengals so the Colts get in the playoffs. Man, I wish I had the magic to make that happen for you, Job. I wish I did, man. NYCE says, Jay, here's how I look at it. 100% we are a dangerous team, but when we are at 75%, it's going to be a scrappy fight. Now, I would agree. I mean, the injuries to Debo obviously affected this offense. I guess the first half, hey, the offense looked good, but the second half, nothing was going on. I showed the recap. Punts, fumbles. Tom Compton allows a safety. So the offense was just in shambles in the first half. This is just one game. Let's see how this team reacts, and let's see how this team prepares. Let's see how this team comes out against the Cincinnati Bengals because, hey, the Bengals can run the ball. They got a Bay Area kid, Joe Mixon, who's having a hell of a NFL career. He's a good running back. They've got wide receivers. So this defense will be tested again. I think, honestly, Cincinnati's offense is probably better, more explosive than Seattle's. You can make that case. So we'll see how this team comes out next week. Yeah, I was saying that, man. I was saying that when I was watching the game. But man, it sucks that DJ it sucks that he had such a pretty good game, man, an impactful game, but it turned out to be a loss, Very unfortunate. Another thing that surprised me in this game, obviously we couldn't run the ball. We didn't win the time of possession. We were terrible on third downs, only 3 of 10. That's not going to get it done. I don't think. I'm trying to think of our red zone. How many times were we in the red zone today? Let's see. So we were only in the red zone on 2 occasions. That's disappointing. And we were only 1 of 2. And the most surprising thing was just the penalties and the turnovers. I guess Jimmy G's turnovers weren't really surprising. I mean, this is kind of who he is, but I thought we had shown that we were playing more buttoned up football as far as not committing dumb penalties, Dan, thanks for tuning in to the stream. He says this loss hurts, but we still got this, fam. Let's go Niners, man. I love your optimism. We've got a tough road of games ahead of us. It is only one game, but dang, this loss really hurts, man. This loss against a division opponent in the Seahawks, and they were a wounded animal, and they beat us. Yeah, this one's gonna be tough to. I mean, looking at our schedule, we got the Bengals next week. We got the Atlanta Falcons after that, the Titans, the Texans, and then the Rams. We got 5 games left. Hey, we'll see. I think technically we still have that third wild card, or we're in the seventh wild card spot. But hey, man, we shall see. We shall see. But we gotta definitely execute. I appreciate you for coming through though. DDC. Tim says, tough day, Niners fans. Start cheering for the Cards. Right. JR Meadow says, last play, Sir Lance was the key. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I thought you wouldn't go here that quick, JR. What's wrong, JR? So for those that don't know, JR has been on the, Shanny needs to go, but that had quieted down over this win streak. Now you jumping off the ship already, JR? What's up with that, man? Oh man. Yeah, I don't understand on that fourth down. Yeah, I think it was fourth down in the fourth quarter. It wasn't the last drive, but it was a few drives before that. I don't understand. Yeah, why we do a read option with Jimmy. Maybe because the defense isn't expecting it, but that did not work out. If anything, but maybe if you put Trey in there, the defense is like, okay, they're probably going to run it. So I just think maybe a better play call, just a different play, you know. Tim says, being a Cardinal fan in all seriousness, think Russell was just due for a win. Law of averages, you did play better. Yeah, in the first half. But Russell, he played much better. Excuse me, Russell played much better this game than the previous three, that's for sure. He definitely, got up for the 49ers, and this was a home game. I did see a lot of 49er fans out there, but, the Seahawks crowd was still loud. And they cheered on their team, and the Seahawks gave the fans definitely something to cheer for with that punt return touchdown, man. That's for sure. Or that fake punt touchdown. Yeah, I agree with you with that. Pete motivates his team's energy. He's a rah-rah guy. I mean, Pete Carroll has been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won one, so he has that over Kyle Shanahan. But let's be real. Pete Carroll has had Russell Wilson. He's had the best quarterback in his franchise's history. Russell Wilson is, if he retires today, he's the best quarterback in the Seahawks franchise history. And Russell Wilson doesn't miss games. Russell Wilson, I want to say, well, let's just put it like this: he don't miss games. It was not normal for him to miss these games, and he only missed it because he had a broken finger on his throwing hand and he had surgery on it. Russell Wilson, he plays. He doesn't. He's never had a torn ACL. He's never, at least not in the NFL. So you can't really compare the two coaches. I mean, you can if you want, but let's be real. The Seahawks are 4-8. I don't think there's any way they can make the playoffs unless every team ahead of them loses the rest of their games and the Seahawks win out, which isn't going to happen. But I do like the way Pete motivates his team. I do like that. That's an aspect I like, but not every coach is like that. NYCE says we bounce back next week. That's what I'm hoping for. Thanks for coming through to the stream, Job. Have a good rest of your night, man. JR says, Lance, bootleg pass, we score, period. Shanny is a deer in headlights coaching. Hey, man, I respect your opinion. But, we'll never know. The Trey Lance should play, or, the Trey Lance needs to start. It's not going to happen. And, it's all up to Shanahan. We really don't know if Trey Lance got in the game, what would happen, what would he do. We won't know until that opportunity, happens. So JR said we should have kept DJ Reed. He's not a bum. I mean, he is part of one of the worst passing defenses in the NFL. So it's not like he's some lights out all pro player. I mean, he's healthy, he's got that to his advantage, but you know, uh, he is DJ Reed a defensive? Is he a difference maker on the Seattle Seahawks defense? No. Is he a solid player? Yeah. I know. I was thinking of that NYCE. You know, his NYCE says crazy this morning. My first key to victory was the special teams. Oh, and the refs got it in for us too. Yeah, that last play, that was definitely defensive PI, but sometimes you're not always going to get those calls, but we wouldn't have needed to go all the way down the field and score if we would have took care of business earlier on. All we needed to do, if you had told me at the beginning of this game, the 49ers are going to lead at halftime, 23-21, and all the 49ers need to do is to score 10 points in the second half and you win the game, I would have took that. I would say, okay, Niners going to win this game. We're going to be able to score 10 points in the second half, but that didn't come to fruition. And credit to the Seahawks. They made adjustments in the second half, and we just didn't execute. And yeah, the special teams, no one saw that coming. No one on the 49ers saw that coming. And that was just a perfect time to call that play, of course, when no one is expecting it. But I just wanted to come on here, talk about the faithful, the Niner Empire. You guys are still the best fans in the NFL. But this is a tough loss to accept. Very tough loss to accept. The way we were playing the last month, I just did not envision this type of loss. Hopefully Trenton Cannon is okay. He had that concussion. Hopefully he has a speedy recovery. Emmanuel Mosley has the ankle injury. Hopefully, obviously, we'll hear more about that tomorrow. Hopefully, his injury does not prevent him from not playing on Sunday against the Bengals, because we're going to need all the healthy guys we can get. But this is a tough loss. Very tough loss. Yeah. Thank you everyone who was in the chat today. Yeah, you're right, NYCE. They did everything they could. They were a desperate team. They they had nothing to lose. They could do all that. They had nothing to lose, and hey, they were the better team today. But shout out to everyone who was in the chat today. I appreciate you guys conversing with me. I appreciate everyone leaving me your thoughts of the game. I appreciate that. Thanks for watching your boy, Jay in the Bay. I may be on a live stream tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But yeah, you guys will see. But hopefully you guys have a great start to your work week. If you start work tomorrow, have a productive work week. And then, it's on to Cincinnati. I'm going to try to get a Cincinnati Bengals YouTuber that I can interview maybe on Thursday, but we'll see. I don't know if there's a lot of Cincinnati Bengals YouTubers out there, but we'll see, man. If I can get one on, I'll have a show on Thursday or even Sunday morning. Have a Cincinnati Bengals YouTuber. If not, hey, it wasn't meant to be. Shout out to Blue True. Blue True says, respect your content and professionalism in the midst of a 49er loss. You are an MVP. I appreciate that, Blue True. You guys in the comment section, you guys are the real MVPs. Because if not, I'd just be, talking to myself. NYCE says, thanks, Jay, for the platform. Have a great week, and I'll catch you on the next one. Same to you, NYCE. Thank you for gracing us with your presence today, man. I always appreciate your feedback, man. Appreciate that. Also, Blue True, Dan, you have a good night as well. J.R. Meadows, Job, Tim, JDW, Corey Davis, Kimbo, David Renteria, even though he's a hater, David, Romello Bell, Pale Time, Mauro Tanaka, Damian Lee, Redder, Niner Gang Podcast, Towley. I appreciate everyone that came through the chat tonight. Shout out to you, KD. Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Keep doing what you're doing, KD. I can tell that's your passion. So keep doing what you're doing. Have a good night, TCR, and everyone have a great night. I'll see you guys in the next one. Go Niners, and make sure you stay faithful.